I read the script and there was no snake. And then not right before, but there was some time, but weeks before we started, he said, "Oh, by the way, you're dancing with a snake." And I'm like, that's my greatest fear in life. Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. It was not only my first lead in an American movie, it was my first American movie, actually. And Robert Rodriguez is super specific, so the character is created by him. He wrote it for me, that helps. And it's just very easy with him. He moves very fast, and Antonio was really cool and lovely and fun to work with.
Is that him?
Yes, but you're not doing anything to him around here. All you'll get us both killed, and I don't want to die over this, okay? Stay away from the window before they see you.
I kind of understood that it's not really a choice, you have to do your stunts. And so I was doing all the stunts, and it was also my first time doing stunts, and Antonio also did all his stunts. And so we had a lot of fun with the movie. I was very proud and scared. I remember jumping from one building to another one and scraping all my knees, and was full of blood. And I said, I don't care, I'll do it again. And it was really painful, but I did it again anyway. It was my first movie, and I just, I wanted to prove myself, and I wanted to show that I cared for the movie, and I was professional. So no matter what happened, I just would do it.
The most drop-dead gorgeous woman you'll ever see.
You have to remember that also Robert Rodriguez gets involved with the wardrobe, the light, he operates the camera. He practically does your makeup. I mean, he was doing like everything in every department. Then when we were gonna shoot Once Upon a Time in Mexico, I had a much bigger role in that one, except that there was a thread of I think it was the Actors Guild going on strike, and that we were not going to be able to work for some time. So all these movies started shooting at the same time, and I have been trying to do Frida for like 8 years, and exactly at the same time they were both going. I said, Robert, I have to do this movie. He had to rewrite the script really fast so that I wouldn't be in it. And I'm in it, of course, but a lot less. And he said, I'll trade you. I'll do that for you, because he had me by contract. He could have said, no, you don't do Frida, you have to do this movie. And I will let you do Frida. I will make your part smaller. I will save it for the end, but you have to sing the end credit song. And I was so terrified of that, but we did it. And by the way, I came at the end of Frida so tired, and my stunts in Once Upon a Time in Mexico were a lot more complicated than in Desperado, and I was so tired, but we did it. From dusk till dawn. They were doing a movie called 4 Rooms, where each one of them, it was Robert Rodriguez and Quentin, Alison Anders. I'm sorry, I don't remember the fourth director, but in Robert's short, the kids are watching television, and there is like a stripper on the television, and I was not in that movie at all. And one morning I'm woken up at like 5 in the morning. I'm on the phone like, what? Hello, what happened? And Robert says, I need you to come right now to the set. I need you to do me a favor. I'm like, what? I need you to do something for the movie. It's just something quick on the television. You just have to dance, whatever. And then anyway, I get there, and I have to do like a strip dance, and I'm like, what are you doing this to me? I've never done that before. I don't know how to do it. And he goes, that's why I want you. And I, what do you, like, you couldn't find a stripper in LA? He goes, no, I audition a lot of them, but because kids are watching it, there's something a little bit, something about it that they look professional. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And I said, but I have clothes. You're going to wear your bikini. Okay. So I said, I'll do it, Robert, but you cannot show my face. or something like that. And so we did it, and I think he didn't show my face, but he put me in the credits, which is worse. But anyway, Quinton saw it, and that's where he got the idea to write Satanico Pandemonium. Then I read the script and there was no snake. And then not right before, but there was some time, but weeks before we started, he said, "Oh, by the way, you're dancing with a snake." And I'm like, that's my greatest fear in life. And he said, "Well, let me do it. Let me know if you're not capable of overcoming your fear for a role, because we can always give it to Madonna," which, I mean, I'm sure it's not true, because if they could have had one Madonna, why me? But I was so afraid to lose the part. I thought I was going to be able to convince him, just let's do it like in the script without the snake. But so I had to learn how to go on trance so that I could overcome my biggest fear. So I was on trance when I was doing that dance. Dogma. The thing about that one is I was so impressed of the cast. Even Alanis Morissette, which at the time, you're too young, but she was like the biggest thing on the face of the earth. With, Little Pill, and we had Ben Affleck and Matt Damon right after the Oscar. Linda Fiorentino, who also at that time was like the most, revered actress. She was so talented. Chris Rock, who again at the time was like #1 comedian. So just the cast was extraordinary. And I was so excited to be a part of that group. Kevin, it's so intelligent and interesting and fun, and he wanted me for that role. So I was just so excited to do it, but it was nerve-wracking a little bit because it's so crazy, the script.
How do you know Metatron? How does she know Metatron?
This is the last scion.
You're kidding. Wow.
And I play a muse. And I think what a lovely thing to play a muse. He did make me do a strip dance on that one too, as I was chewing bubble gum. Frida? My connection with Frida and the movie, it gave me a purpose more than anything. It was not a movie. She was my hero. But also, it meant so much to me. All the things I wanted to complain about in the world or change the perceptions in the world, I could do with this film. And it was important for me to show that my country is full of sophistication, and how at that time all the great thinkers around the world would come to Mexico. It just steps out of the stereotypes that were used for all Latin American characters at the time, in the end of the 90s. Because remember, I was trying to get this done for a very long time. There's so many things about her, like her courage to be unique. Also, like, not only there was the situation of Mexico, a way to also physically show Mexico, which was so beautiful, the colors of Mexico, the light of Mexico, the art of Mexico, the music of Mexico, and the sophistication and cultural richness. But also, she, like I said, she had the courage to be unique, and I thought that would be inspiring beyond the Latin American community, that her life would be inspiring for every woman and for every man. So it was not just one more movie that I wanted, like, oh, it will be my lead. No, for me, I really felt like it was my destiny to make these, and to do it the right way,
Señor Rivera. Diego!
Who are you? What do you want?
I have something important to discuss with you.
I'm working.
I'll wait.
I, for real, produced this film. It's not like I practically did it on my own because I had no support from Miramax. And one of the problems why the many people that tried to do it before, one of the problems they ran into were the rights to the paintings. So I befriended a woman, Dolores Olmedo, that actually I learned a lot from her. And she said, you have to woo me. I ended up wooing her for a couple of years, and we became really good friends. And she said to me, you had me at hello. I was always going to give you this. I just wanted you close to me. And I said, you had me at hello too. I would have stayed close to you. I had to negotiate a lot of places that had never allowed anyone to shoot in there before. I did the cast by myself, all the cast in the United States, every single name that we found, they were all friends that did it as a favor, except, no, they were all friends. They were all friends. Some more than others, but they were all friends.
They say if a girl asks your opinion and she's not a complete fright, you'll gush all over her. I need you to tell me one thing, honestly. Do you actually believe that I should continue to paint?
Yes. Yes.
Well, the truth is that after we finished it in the post-production, I was so emotionally and physically exhausted from the journey that I kind of said I did it, and I kind of stepped out for some time. But when it was gonna come out, I had to step in again because, first of all, they were gonna put it just on television, and so we had to convince Harvey to put it on the theaters, but he was saying it was no good, it was not worth a theater. And then when it tested high, he was upset, and finally he was going to put it only, at the beginning, I think only two theaters or only one theater. I convinced him 4 more. And then little by little, it started adding theaters, but the success was not immediate. It was little by little, and it was very exciting to see how it had legs on its own. It stood up on its own against all odds, and how it still stands on its own, after so many years. Hitman's Wife, Bodyguard. This is a sequel to the first film, Hitman's Bodyguard. Somebody was working at the time in Millennium, who is a friend from Frida, that was working at Miramax from Frida. He told me, look, I have this role. I know you would not normally do it, but I need you to do this for me because I want this character to be unforgettable, because it's very important for the film, because it's about her, but she's not in it. He knows that I really like, and actually it's terrible that I say, but I'm actually really good at creating characters. She used to be Irish, by the way. And so I had a lot of freedom, and then Ryan, who's married to a really good friend of mine, said, come on, let's do this, come on, you have to do it. So they shot it in this part in London, so it was easy for me because it's where I live now. And it was 2 days, and we had a lot of fun, and Patrick, the director, also was super cool, and they let me create a character, and Cut 2, the movie comes out, it's a big hit, and turns out the audience really loved the character. So for the sequel, Patrick came to me and he said, I want to incorporate Sonia into, the duo, make it a 3-handed instead of 2-handed with the guys. And so we worked on the character together. She said, tell me about Sonia. And I just love the character. I could talk about Sonia nonstop. And so she's mad, but there's a logic to her madness, and I understand it really well. And I love the way she thinks out of the box. Like what happens in her head is like really unexpected, but there's a consistency to it. And it's also a woman dealing with menopause, probably, that it's in denial of it. And so when you have crazy and you add the hormones, then the result of that equation is Sonia Kincaid in this new movie.